Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in every person's life when the pain feels unbearable, when your body screams to stop, when your mind whispers, it's not worth it, and when your heart questions whether you can keep going. But I'm here to tell you something powerful. Pain is temporary, but greatness lasts forever. The agony you feel today, the struggle that burns through your chest, the doubts that haunt your every move, they are not here to stay. They are here to shape you, refine you, and prepare you for a level of greatness you cannot yet imagine. When you look at those who've achieved the impossible, the champions, the innovators, the legends, what do they all have in common? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's the decision to endure what others refuse to face. Pain was their teacher. Struggle was their training ground. And every drop of sweat, every sleepless night, every tear shed in silence built the foundation of their success. Growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from challenge. Every time you face pain, you're being stretched beyond your limits. The muscle doesn't grow without resistance, and the mind doesn't evolve without struggle. When pain shows up, it's not your enemy, it's your invitation. It's life saying, you're ready for more. Embrace it. The discomfort you feel today will become the strength you rely on tomorrow. Motivation can light the fire, but discipline keeps it burning when the spark fades. There will be days when you don't feel like showing up, when every cell in your body begs you to quit. That's when greatness is forged. In those moments when you act not because you feel like it, but because you've made a promise to yourself. The pain of discipline lasts minutes. The pain of regret lasts a lifetime. The body will quit long before the mind does, if you let it. But when your mind decides, I will not give in, everything changes. Your limits expand, your endurance multiplies. Pain becomes background noise. It's not about ignoring the pain. It's about mastering it, transforming it into fuel, and realizing that the mind controls the outcome, not the discomfort. When you push past your breaking point, you don't just win the goal, you win yourself. The pride that comes from overcoming what once seemed impossible will stay with you forever. The medal may tarnish, the applause may fade, but the memory of who you became in that moment, that lasts. Pain fades, scars heal, but the pride of perseverance becomes part of your identity. The nights you stayed up working, the mornings you dragged yourself out of bed, the relationships you lost, the opportunities you let go, they all mean something. Every sacrifice is a seed planted in the soil of greatness. Most people give up because they mistake pain for punishment when in reality it's the price of transformation. Don't curse the process, honor it. There is no secret formula, no shortcut, no easy road. The ones who achieve greatness aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who rise every single time. Pain is the currency of success, and the more you're willing to invest, the richer your legacy becomes. When you endure, when you refuse to quit, when you fight even when it hurts, that's when greatness takes root. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you're standing in the fire of struggle, when your mind says, stop, and your heart says, I can't, remember this pain is temporary, it will fade, it will pass. But what will remain, what will echo through time, is the greatness you built from it. Don't run from pain. Don't hide from struggle. Step into it. Conquer it. Because one day when the pain is gone and your name is remembered, you'll look back and say, it was all worth it. Pain is the pathway to growth because every moment of discomfort you experience is shaping you into something greater than you were before. Most people run from pain, believing it is something to avoid or fear. But those who achieve true greatness understand that pain is not the end. It's the beginning of transformation. It's life's way of pushing you beyond your comfort zone, of stretching your limits and revealing the strength that has been hidden within you all along. When everything feels easy, you are not growing. You are simply existing in the familiar. Growth happens when you step into the unknown, when you confront difficulty, and when you refuse to back down even as it hurts. The truth is, pain is not the obstacle to success. It is the very bridge that carries you to it. Think about a muscle when it's being trained. It must tear in order to grow. Those tiny tears are painful, but they are necessary because it's through the recovery from that pain that the muscle becomes stronger. The same principle applies to your character, your mindset, and your spirit. Without challenge, there is no change. Without struggle, there is no strength. The person you are today is the result of every hard moment you've endured in the past. Every heartbreak, every failure, every setback that forced you to dig deeper, to fight harder, to believe stronger. Pain refines you. It strips away the illusions and comforts that keep you stagnant, leaving behind only what is real, your resilience, your courage, your hunger. When you begin to see pain as a teacher rather than a tormentor, everything shifts. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That single shift in perspective can change your entire life because pain always carries a lesson, and that lesson is the key to your next level. Maybe it's teaching you patience when things don't happen on your timeline. Maybe it's teaching you discipline when the results don't come immediately. Maybe it's teaching you humility when your ego gets in the way. Or maybe it's teaching you gratitude for the moments of peace that follow after the storm. The lesson is always there if you're willing to look for it. The irony of pain is that while it feels like it's breaking you, it's actually building you. Every time you survive something you thought would destroy you, you grow more unshakable. You start to realize that you are capable of handling far more than you ever imagined. Pain stretches your limits, expands your capacity, and builds emotional endurance. It teaches you persistence. It makes you appreciate progress. It awakens something fierce within you, a drive that cannot be taught in comfort. And that's why so many people never reach their full potential. Because the moment pain appears, they retreat. They stop just before the breakthrough. They give up right before they evolve. But the ones who persist through the discomfort, who keep pushing when their minds scream, enough, are the ones who emerge stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. Pain is the language of transformation. It's not there to punish you, but to prepare you. Every successful person you admire has gone through moments of deep pain, rejection, loss, failure, exhaustion, but they endured it with faith that something greater was being formed inside them. You cannot become extraordinary by avoiding the extraordinary challenges that shape extraordinary people. You must lean into the pain not as a victim, but as a student, because growth is not born in the moments of ease. It's born in the fire of discomfort. And while pain may visit you for a moment, the strength it leaves behind stays with you forever. Discipline outlasts motivation because motivation is fleeting, unpredictable, and emotionally driven, while discipline is a conscious choice, a decision made not once, but every single day, regardless of how you feel. Motivation is like a spark. It can ignite your passion, but it burns out quickly if not sustained by the fuel of discipline. When you start something new, a goal, a dream, a vision, you're often full of excitement. Everything feels possible. You tell yourself this is your moment, your time to rise. But as the days pass, the enthusiasm fades. The novelty wears off. The grind sets in. That's when most people quit because they were relying on motivation to carry them instead of building the discipline that carries champions through every storm. Discipline means doing what you said you do long after the mood you set it in has left you. It's the inner muscle that says, I don't care if I feel tired. I don't care if it's inconvenient. I will show up. The truth is, greatness isn't built on excitement. It's built on consistency. Every day you show up when it's hard, when it's boring, when it's painful, that's when you're sculpting strength that will outlast any temporary feeling. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is not that one had more motivation, but that one had more commitment. Discipline is the bridge between intentions and results, between wanting something and actually achieving it. When you depend on motivation, you live on emotion. When you live with discipline, you live on principle. And principles never waver. They don't depend on weather, mood, or circumstance. They remain steady. That's why the most successful people in the world aren't always the most inspired. They're the most disciplined. They understand that feelings are unreliable, but actions repeated with purpose create unstoppable momentum. Discipline is also what separates the dreamers from the doers. Everyone dreams of success, but few are willing to endure the repetitive grind that builds it. Discipline is waking up early to train when the bed feels too comfortable. It's choosing to work on your craft instead of wasting hours scrolling mindlessly. It's saying no to distractions, no to excuses, no to comfort, because you have said yes to something greater, your vision. Pain becomes part of your process, not your reason to stop. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you strengthen your sense of control, your confidence, and your power. You start to trust yourself, and that trust becomes your greatest weapon. When you can rely on your own word, when you know that you will show up no matter what, the world can no longer stop you. Discipline is not about perfection, it's about persistence. You will stumble, you will have off days, but discipline teaches you to rise, to recalibrate, to continue without losing focus. It's the art of mastering yourself, your impulses, your emotions, your weaknesses, and turning them into tools rather than limitations. The mind will always seek comfort. Discipline teaches it to seek progress. The body will crave rest. Discipline teaches it to find strength in movement. The ego will demand validation. Discipline teaches it to find satisfaction in effort. That's why discipline is freedom, because when you control your choices, nothing can control you. The pain of discipline lasts a moment, but the pain of regret can last a lifetime. When you give up because something feels hard, you're not saving yourself from pain. You're just trading short-term discomfort for long-term disappointment. Every time you choose discipline over ease, you're investing in a future version of yourself who is stronger, prouder, and more fulfilled. That version of you is built in the hours when no one is watching, in the moments when you push through despite fatigue, in the quiet decisions that no one will ever applaud but will define your entire destiny. Motivation might get you started, but discipline is what keeps you moving when everything inside you says stop. It's the force that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results, the silent power that builds unbreakable character, and the one thing that guarantees, while pain may be temporary, the greatness you build from discipline will last forever. Your mind is stronger than your body because every physical limitation you think you have begins first in your thoughts. The body may grow weary, the muscles may ache, and exhaustion may whisper that you've reached your end, but the truth is that your limits are rarely physical, they are mental. The human mind has the power to command the body far beyond what it believes is possible. When you decide that you can't go any further, your body obeys that command. But when you decide that you must continue, that there is no option but to push forward, your body finds a way to adapt. This is the power of the mind. It dictates how far you go, how long you endure, and how deeply you can transform. Pain is real, but the perception of pain, the meaning you attach to it, and the response you give to it all come from the mind. When the mind is trained to stay focused, the body follows with strength it never knew it had. Every athlete who breaks a record, every soldier who survives the impossible, every person who defies the odds has one thing in common: a mind that refused to surrender. The body can be trained, but without mental fortitude, it will always collapse under pressure. That's because the body is a servant to the mind. The moment you allow negative thoughts to dominate, your energy drains, your determination weakens, and your effort becomes half-hearted. But when your mind is centered on purpose, when you replace doubt with certainty, and when you decide that you will not stop, something remarkable happens. Your body finds a new gear. It obeys your will. It listens to your command. That's why mastery begins in the mind. You can endure far more than you think if you simply refuse to let your thoughts talk you out of it. Pain, exhaustion, and struggle are the mind's greatest tests. They expose how strong or weak your mental conditioning is. Most people quit not because their body fails, but because their mind gives up first. The body was still capable of more, but the mind decided to stop fighting. This is why mental toughness separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. When you train your mind to see beyond the moment of pain, to visualize the reward that lies ahead, you give yourself the power to push through temporary suffering for permanent strength. The key is to control your thoughts before they control you. The mind can be your greatest ally or your worst enemy, depending on how you use it. Every time you choose to silence the voice of fear, every time you tell yourself to keep going despite the pain, you're strengthening your mental muscles. And just like physical muscles, those mental fibers grow stronger each time they're tested. The mind's power lies in its ability to change perception. Two people can experience the same pain, but one sees it as suffering while the other sees it as progress. The difference isn't in the pain, it's in the mindset. When your mind associates pain with purpose, when it views discomfort as a sign of growth rather than defeat, it transforms your experience entirely. Suddenly the burn in your lungs, the fatigue in your limbs, the heaviness in your heart become proof that you are evolving. Your body may want to stop, but your mind becomes the commander that says, "Not yet." That command alone can carry you through the moments when everything else wants to break. To unlock your full potential, you must train your mind daily. You must feed it empowering thoughts, condition it with discipline, and teach it resilience through adversity. You must learn to sit in the discomfort and remind yourself that the pain is temporary, but the strength you gain from mastering your mind will last forever. Every battle, every obstacle, every moment that pushes you to your limit is an opportunity to prove that your will is stronger than your weakness. When your mind leads with conviction, the body follows with obedience. And in that union of willpower and endurance lies the true definition of greatness. The realization that what once felt impossible is entirely within your control when your mind takes command. Temporary pain and eternal pride are deeply connected because the struggles you face today are the very experiences that shape the legacy you will carry forever. Pain, no matter how intense, is a passing visitor. It may dominate your thoughts. It may exhaust your spirit, but it never stays forever. Pride, however, the pride of knowing you endured, that you didn't give up when everything in you wanted to, that pride becomes a permanent part of who you are. The pain of effort fades, but the story of your perseverance lasts for the rest of your life. Every great achievement, every victory, every meaningful transformation has been born through moments of deep discomfort. It is in those moments when you have every reason to stop but choose to continue that you build something eternal, not just success, but identity, self-respect, and unshakable confidence. When you look back on the hardest moments of your life, you rarely remember the pain itself. What you remember is that you made it through. The tears, the fatigue, the frustration, they fade into the background of memory, but what stays is the pride of survival. That pride is the quiet voice inside you that says, "I did it. I didn't quit." It becomes fuel for the next challenge, a reminder that no matter how hard things get, you have already proven your strength before. Pain tests your limits, but pride shows you that those limits were illusions all along. The body may forget the physical strain, but the soul never forgets the strength it took to overcome. That's why pain is temporary, because it passes once you've learned the lesson it came to teach you. But pride endures because it becomes a symbol of who you've become through that lesson. Every moment you endure pain for something meaningful, you are making a silent trade. You are exchanging temporary suffering for permanent fulfillment. The road to greatness demands this exchange. The hours you spend grinding while others rest, the sacrifices you make in silence, the moments when you push through fatigue, frustration, and failure, they all accumulate into something priceless. You might not see the reward immediately, but one day when you look back, the pain will seem small compared to the pride of what you built. You will remember how much it hurt, but you will feel even more deeply how much it mattered. Pain is the price of progress, and pride is the proof of it. Pain also has the unique ability to make pride meaningful. If everything came easily, victory would hold no value. Pride exists because pain was present. It is the contrast between suffering and success that gives your achievements their emotional weight. When you finally reach a goal you've bled for, cried for, and fought for, that moment feels sacred because you know what it cost you. Without pain, there will be no appreciation, no growth, and no true sense of fulfillment. Pride without pain is hollow. It's the journey through difficulty that gives success its soul. The moment of triumph, when you finally overcome, becomes so much sweeter precisely because of the pain that came before it. The beauty of pain is that it ends, but the transformation it brings does not. Once you've conquered something that once terrified or exhausted you, that victory becomes part of you forever. It shapes your confidence, your mindset, your ability to face the future. You start to realize that no amount of struggle can take away what you've earned through endurance. That pride doesn't fade with time. It grows stronger because it's built on truth. The truth that you face fear, discomfort, and hardship and refuse to let them win. The next time you encounter pain, you remember who you are and what you've already overcome. Pain may visit again, but it can no longer intimidate you because you've already proven that you can outlast it. And in that realization lies one of life's greatest rewards, that the pain you once dreaded has become the foundation of the pride you will carry forever. Every sacrifice has a purpose, and though it may not always be immediately clear, every ounce of effort, every moment of discomfort, and every dream deferred plays a vital role in shaping the person you are becoming. Sacrifice is the silent currency of greatness. It is the unseen investment that separates those who only wish from those who truly achieve. Every time you give up comfort for progress, leisure for discipline, or pleasure for purpose, you are making a conscious trade, temporary loss for lasting fulfillment. Most people want success, but they are not willing to pay the price. They want the reward without the sacrifice, the victory without the battle, the recognition without the work. But greatness doesn't operate that way. It demands something from you. It asks for your time, your focus, your energy, your patience, and sometimes even your peace. Sacrifice is not punishment. It is preparation. It is life's way of asking, how much do you really want this? So the truth is that every meaningful goal comes with a cost. The bigger your dream, the greater your sacrifice must be. You cannot climb a mountain without leaving the ground behind, and you cannot rise to your potential without letting go of the things that keep you comfortable. Every sacrifice, whether it's waking up early when you'd rather sleep, saying no to distractions, or distancing yourself from people who don't share your vision, is a step toward transformation. You might not see the result instantly, but progress is always happening beneath the surface. The moments you feel like nothing is working are often the moments when everything is taking root. Just as a seed must be buried in darkness before it blooms, you too must sometimes go through seasons of isolation, struggle, and sacrifice before your growth becomes visible. Sacrifice tests your commitment. It reveals whether your desire for success is stronger than your attachment to comfort. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you are strengthening your resolve. Every time you say no to something that brings short-term pleasure but long-term regret, you are saying yes to your future. Sacrifice builds integrity because it requires you to act in alignment with your goals, not your impulses. It's a constant reminder that nothing worth having comes easily. People often mistake sacrifice for loss, but in truth, you are never losing. You are trading something temporary for something permanent, something small for something significant. Every great story of achievement is a story of sacrifice. Behind every medal, every invention, every legacy lies a trail of things that were given up. Time, comfort, stability in the pursuit of something larger than oneself. Sacrifice also purifies intention. When you are willing to give something up for your dream, you prove how deeply you care about it. It removes the noise and leaves only what truly matters. Through sacrifice, your priorities become clear and your vision becomes sharper. You start to understand that success is not about having everything. It's about giving everything to what you believe in. That's why those who sacrifice are often misunderstood by others, because they are willing to endure solitude, criticism, and hardship for a vision that only they can see. But that isolation is temporary. What it builds, however, is eternal resilience, focus, strength, and unbreakable faith in yourself. Every sacrifice holds a purpose, even when it feels painful or unfair. The opportunities you turn down, the sleep you lose, the moments of ease you give away, they are all shaping your destiny. In time, you'll realize that nothing was wasted, not a single tear or moment of exhaustion. Each act of sacrifice is a seed planted in the soil of success, and though it may take time to grow, it will eventually bloom into something extraordinary. When that day comes, when you finally hold the results of everything you gave up, the pain will vanish, but the pride will remain. You will look back and understand that every sacrifice was not just worth it, it was necessary. Greatness isn't for the lucky. It's for the relentless, for the ones who refuse to surrender when life becomes unbearable, for the ones who keep going long after the excitement is gone, and for those who fight for their vision even when no one else believes in it. The myth of luck is comforting because it gives people an excuse not to try, But the truth is that luck plays a very small role in lasting success. Greatness is not stumbled upon. It is earned through persistence, sacrifice, and the unbreakable decision to never stop moving forward. The relentless are not necessarily the most talented or the most gifted. They are simply the ones who decide that quitting is not an option. They show up when it hurts, when it's inconvenient, when it's boring, and when it feels impossible. They understand that the universe doesn't reward those who wait. It rewards those who act with consistency and conviction, no matter how difficult the path becomes. Being relentless means having a hunger that never fades, a fire that doesn't die even in the coldest storms. It's waking up every day with the same purpose, the same intensity, the same drive to grow, even when there's no immediate reward. The relentless don't depend on motivation. They depend on commitment. They don't need external validation because their focus is internal. They are competing not with others, but with who they were yesterday. They live with the belief that progress, even if it's just one small step, is better than standing still. When they fall, they rise without hesitation. When they fail, they analyze, adjust, and continue. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It's the raw material from which success is built. Every mistake, every rejection, every setback becomes fuel for their journey instead of a reason to stop. What separates the relentless from the rest is their relationship with pain and adversity. Where most see hardship as a sign to give up, the relentless see it as confirmation that they are on the right path. They expect struggle because they know growth lives there. They don't ask for the path to be easier. They ask to become stronger. They view obstacles not as walls, but as tests, opportunities to prove how badly they want it. Each challenge becomes a chance to stretch their limits and expand their endurance. They understand that pain is temporary, but the glory of overcoming it lasts forever. This mindset is what allows them to keep pushing when others have already stopped. Their resilience becomes their greatest weapon, and their ability to stay in the fight, even when exhausted, is what defines them. The relentless live by principle, not by comfort. They don't wait for perfect timing, because they know perfection is an illusion. They start where they are with what they have, and they make progress through sheer determination. Their lives are built on habits, consistent, purposeful actions repeated day after day until they become unstoppable. They might not always move fast, but they never stop moving. And while others get distracted by doubts and fears, they stay locked on their mission, fully aware that consistency will eventually conquer everything. They understand that the world rewards endurance. It rewards the one who stayed after everyone else left, the one who kept swinging when everyone else dropped their tools, the one who chose to believe even when evidence said not to. Greatness demands this kind of relentlessness because nothing extraordinary is achieved by the half-hearted. The relentless are those who turn obstacles into opportunities, rejection into redirection, and pain into power. They are the ones who dare to keep going when there's no guarantee of success, fueled only by faith and persistence. They understand that being relentless doesn't mean being perfect. It means never giving up no matter how imperfect the journey becomes. They push, they grind, they fight, not because it's easy, but because they know that every second of struggle is bringing them closer to the life they were meant to live. In the end, it's not luck that determines who achieves greatness. It's the relentless spirit that refuses to stop until the vision becomes reality.